Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining our monthly webinar series today, talking about mental health. I'm just waiting for participants' numbers to come up. The subject matter today is mental health in high places, spotting the signs in the scaffolding industry. And we have a specialist, Hines, that will be doing a presentation on this subject matter today. So we're very happy to have Ian. I'll be introducing him to you shortly. Right, I'm going to reveal myself. Here we go. Oh, there I am, twice the man I used to be. Good morning again. So Jamie Maguire here, Head of Business Development for NASC. We doing this monthly webinar series. Thank you for those who've attended previous. All these webinars are filmed, recorded, and put on our YouTube channel, so you and others can watch the content at a later date. We have a very good webinar subject today. All our webinars are very good subject matters, of course, but today, with our promise to Lighthouse Club charity, that we want to keep on shining the light on this very important subject matter. And we have a very knowledgeable guest speaker from a scaffolding industry and with a mental health background as well, mental health first aider, Ian Hines. Here he is, and I'll be introducing you to him shortly, and he'll be doing a presentation today. It should take about 45 minutes in total with questions. Please do feel free to ask questions as and when you see fit. You can interject, and I'll be sharing that with Ian, and he can answer, or we can answer your questions for you. We have Marie in the background, who's going to be controlling the slides. So if it all goes wrong, we know who to blame. No pressure, Marie. But before that, and the first test of Marie's skills, we're going to just do a quick poll, if that's okay. The good thing about these webinars is that you can use the polls, and as you can see on the screen, we'd like to just get an idea of how you feel about the stigma of mental health. So, do you think it's better than it was? Do you think it remains the same? So, if you can just answer those questions, please. And question 3 is, do you or a colleague suffer with mental health yourselves? And the answers are coming in, and we'll share these in a second. Just waiting for the percentages to go up so everyone can answer, because we can get as much data as possible. And if so, have they been able to get assistance easily? Yes or no? Okay. So share results now. So look at this. Do you feel the stigma of mental health is 63% feel that it's better? That's very, very good to hear. 32% believe it remains the same, and 5% worse than ever. Do you feel mental health awareness within the construction industry, maritime industry, is poor, okay, equal, they're good? That's a good split there. Excellent, not very much. I mean, that's a very interesting part there. Clearly that more can be done. Do you or your colleagues suffer with mental health awareness? 74% said yes, and 53%, slight majority there, feel they have been able to get assistance. So that's something that we'll be talking about today, making sure that you know where to go for your help, which is through the Lighthouse. So I'll stop sharing. Thank you for those participating in the poll. Hope you've enjoyed that, and well done, Marie. It's got to be said. I'll just close that down now. So I'd like to introduce you to the presenter, really of the presentation, which is Ian Hines from Lighthouse. Ian, are you there? Is he there? I can feel his presence. Here he is. You're on mute. There we go.
Hello guys, how you doing?
Thank you for joining us today, Ian. Nice to see you.
My pleasure, Jamie. My pleasure.
I'm gonna hand over to you to take the controls, and just a reminder to everyone, Q&A, please do use the Q&A at the bottom, and when it pops up, I'll be monitoring it with Marie, and I might have to interject and just raise the question at that particular time, or maybe we can save them for the end. But do feel free to ask questions and use this time to get the most benefit for yourself. So over to you, Ian.
Great. Thanks very much, Jamie. Yeah, and thanks for being invited on. It really is a great honour. I think firstly starting off with some of that poll really is strong, isn't it? 74% of people suffer from a mental health illness or have suffered at some point. The reason why I wanted to sort of be part of this is before I became part of Lighthouse Charity, I didn't really know a lot about it. And it's one of the biggest assets we've got out there within the mental health situation within construction. So the Lighthouse Charity, it's been going around for a long time, 1956. If I'm not mistaken, it was started off by a few guys from Whitney Bay who were builders, and they realised that some of them were having issues, and some of them started to put some money into a bit of a fund to help each other out. And from then, it's grown to the point where if you look at our impact report, which is way too big to go through on this sort of presentation at the moment, but it's definitely worth looking at. The help that we give and the help that we do is massive. Just to give you a little bit of brief history of myself, really. I always start off when I do my talks about stigma and how stigma relates to mental illness. And I'll always ask the question is, do we stigmatise people who've been in prison? And the answer will normally be yes. Do we stigmatise people who've been drug addicts? And most people will say yeah. And then I always start with, well, I came out of prison in 2000 after being a drug addict for 7 years. And the only thing I wanted to be at that point, because I'd experienced some talking therapy, was a therapist. Now, I'd left school with no qualifications, no sort of education at all. And the only place that would give me a job was construction, because generally it was where all the naughty boys went to work. Now, what happened with me is I joined the scaffolding industry, was trying to be a therapist. So at some point along the way, I'm a scaffolder and a therapist at the same time. Now, you don't often find that. But what I found was there'd be a lot of guys coming up to me on site sort of saying, right, so you do this counselling stuff, don't you? And I'd say, yeah. And they'd say, right, I've got a friend. I have a friend who's got a problem. And it would never be them that had the problem, because of the stigma attached to it. Now, stigma is for me, and it might sound dramatic, is one of the biggest killers in construction as far as suicide goes, because we can't admit that we've got a problem, because we can't say that we've got an issue. We don't talk to each other, and what happens then is the inevitable. Things get on top, and we're losing over 2 people a day. Now, I know there's been new figures brought out. We are losing 2 people a day to suicide, and we now know we're losing more. I don't know the exact figures. I don't want to bring them out because obviously there's other people involved in that. So just moving on to the next slide, really, if possible, please, Mary. So obviously when I was asked to come and talk about this, it was looking at spotting the signs in other people, really, who might be suffering with mental health illnesses, and we'll get to that. But going back to where I came from, really, what I decided to do, and a great person who helped me was a guy called Robert Lynch, who was running, who was the CEO of Linden Scaffolding at the time. Now, because obviously I got quite far up in the scaffolding trade, and I got more of a voice, I was able to introduce more mental health into it. And we decided to make a commitment to train some mental health first aiders. I trained as one, and I found that people coming and talking to me more. So we said, look, in the first year, let's train 20 mental health first aiders. In the first year, we trained 50. and we noticed the massive difference that had on people, and people were talking, people were getting involved. You had COVID coming about, and then I heard about Lighthouse, and the sort of stuff they were doing. So we can move on to the next slide, please, Marie. Now, people don't realise the assistance that Lighthouse provide, and my story goes a bit further down the line, which I'll tell you about. But obviously, I was going out and I'm talking to people about. I actually left Linden after 23 years, and wanted to go and get more involved in the mental health side of stuff. And I was going out and I was talking to people on sites about the help that Lighthouse give, i.e. what you can see on the screen there, emotional well-being, with stress, anxiety, anger, depression, loss and bereavement. Actually, I'd lost my mother myself. I'd never actually had suicidal thoughts myself, but I've actually come across people who had. And then becoming a therapist, I'd actually started to see a lot more people from construction and seeing what was going on in construction. Now, the nature of the beast in construction is you do a lot of working away, you're working in quite hard, what should we call it, circumstances, rain, dark, time pressures, all that sort of stuff. And people don't realise the sort of pressure we're under. So further to that, we also help out with physical well-being, helping people out with alcohol and drug addiction, even to the point now where we're looking at helping out people with menopause support, weight management, sleep. Sleep's a massive issue with any sort of mental health issue. I know I struggle with sleep. Then you've had aches and pains into it as well. If you're working in a construction industry, as a huddy, a brickie, anything, scaffolder, you're going to pick up a lot of aches and pains. To the point where and I'm not proud of seeing this, or I'm not being part of it, but I saw guys cut casts off their own arms to be able to continue to work, because the truth of the matter is we can't afford not to go to work. If we don't go to work, we don't get paid, and then that leads us on to the next part, the financial well-being. We've all got to pay our bills. You imagine putting the emotional and the physical issues that men go through and women go through as well in building the building industry, and when they can't do their job, the financial parts that influences as well. So what Lighthouse do is we look at, as holistically, we cover all of those. We will help you out with all those situations, to the point where I've got family who've actually gone and got help, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I went and got help myself, because if you can move on to the next slide, please, Marie. I was going out and I was going through sites and I was meeting people, and I was talking to them as a scaffolder, a therapist, a dad, a son, a husband, and I really enjoyed meeting all these guys. And we'd always start off with, okay, so how is everyone? And everyone would always say, I'm fine. Now, everyone will always sound fine, because we'll start with, look, I'm a man, so I've got to sound fine. There's no point, talking about this sort of stuff. And people weren't fine. People were not okay. We all know a lot of the statistics. 1 in 4 people suffer with mental health issues. Personally, I think it's a lot more than that. Just down to the fact of the people that we're losing. So I was going out, talking to people, and what I didn't realise is that even through my therapist training, there's a situation that happened to me when I was a young person, whereas I lost somebody very close to me. I lost a child, and I felt very responsible about this. I thought I dealt with it. I thought I'd been and done what I needed to do, and I hadn't. Now, when I started talking about this openly to people, not to the right people, it started to cause me problems and pain and issues and what have you. And what happened for me, and where I'm coming from, is Lighthouse is not a box ticking exercise. What it did for me is it said, stop, you are not right. Something is not going right for you. And they stopped me going and doing what I was doing. They helped me out financially, they helped me out physically, they helped me out emotionally, and they got me help to the point where they put me into therapy with something that's known as EMDR, which is used for PTSD. And I was suffering from PTSD and I didn't even know about it. But these people are that good at what they do, they recognise what was going on for me and they put me back into therapy. If you could have the next slide, please, Marie. Now, these are some of the wonderful people who are involved in this organisation. And look, I'm going to say that because I'm part of it. But to see the work that all of these people put in, from Lee to Rob to Ray to Olympia to Sarah to everyone, absolutely everybody there, Jack, we all work really, really hard. And we also now, we not just now, but we look after ourselves as well. We realise that we need to look after ourselves because talking to people about this sort of stuff can be really, really taxing. And we train a lot of people in mental health first aid as well. And one of the main things that we do when we teach people about mental health first aid is self-care. Because if you're talking to people about mental health, suicide, all that sort of stuff, it sticks to you, and you have to be able to go and unload that a little bit and be able to talk to people. One of the big things that we do and what I was part of was the Make It Visible team, where we would drive around sites and we would get all these guys together and it would start off with, I don't need this, blah, 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 But after a while, you tell the guys your own story, you get a little bit vulnerable. And it was really, really, it was a great experience to get to talk to people on an honest basis where they admit, yeah, I struggle. So I think that the work that we do is invaluable. And my main message to what I'm trying to get over to people is if you think that somebody might be suffering in any way, shape, or form with a mental health issue, is ask the question. And it's not an easy question to ask. That's why we say you should go and get some training. If that's not possible, even just asking the question tells that person that you care, you're interested in what's going on for them. So what I'm going to do now is give you a few signs of what you could see in people that might make you want to ask the question, are you okay? Okay, so let's go through these, right? So spotting the signs, a loss of confidence and self-esteem. Yeah, I'm sure we've all gone through that. Now, we're as people, we're all going to have gone through a few of these. But the way this is worked out on a sort of depression scale is if you are showing 4 of these symptoms for longer than 2 weeks at a time, you can have mild depression. I think then if you're showing sort of 6 to 7 of these symptoms, it's moderate depression. And if you're showing over 8 for over 2 weeks, it can be severe depression. But let's go through them. So feelings of guilt, even when it's not your fault, we all have them. Things are going wrong. We don't know what's going, what am I supposed to do? Sometimes there's nothing we can do about it, which can lead us to having suicidal thoughts. And, suicidal thoughts aren't, they're not, it's not a swear word. People have them, and just because you have them doesn't mean you're going to act on them. But it's not a bad idea to just talk about what's going on for you. Difficulty in making decisions or concentrating can be massive. Your cognitive functioning, pessimistic views of the future. Now, sometimes if you're thinking about what questions you want to ask somebody, if they might be going through some sort of depression, you've got your holidays booked. What do you think about what's going on with the football team, stuff like that. But it can give you an idea of where somebody's at as far as their view of the future. And that you can hear alarm bells ring when there's no view of the future. Not sleeping enough or sleeping too much can be a massive, massive sign. No interest in food or eating too much can be a massive sign. Sad moods that won't shift or go away, which I suppose is a given. But look, when you're recognising people having a lot of these symptoms all at once, or a bit more than you feel they maybe should do, ask the question. I've got a saying I always use. I've been in a situation a few times where I've had to say to somebody, "Are you thinking of taking your own life?" And luckily, I've got some training in that, but it's a hard question to ask because the answer that can come back can be really quite scary. Because if somebody comes back and says yes, what do you say to that? What we try and get over to people is you need to remember is you do not have to have the answers for these people. All you need to do is be able to have the knowledge of where you send somebody, where you help them go to get the help that they need, i.e. signposting. So again, loss of interest in things that used to make them happy. Again, when I went through my hard time a couple of years ago, you know, some of the stuff that used to make me happy just wasn't doing it. You know, I remember watching my son sing in a choir at one point, and it brought tears to my eyes. The next time I've seen him getting inducted into the Scouts, and it did nothing for me because I was feeling depressed. And if you allow depression to keep going, it can turn into feelings of suicide. So we need to get in there before that happens. And ultimately as well, no energy, feeling tired. Next slide, please, Marie. So, what do Lighthouse do? Lighthouse, if you phone Lighthouse, I give out cards obviously when I'm on site to people, and I call it a life-saving piece of equipment as much as your harness, because that number there, I've seen it saved lots of people's lives. I've seen it turn people's lives around. I can't stress enough how much it can help just to be able to talk to somebody about how you feel. And if you're there now and you're feeling that you can't go on, but you've got to go on, you know, you're one of those people who've got to cut the cast off in some sort of way to keep on working, then make the phone call, because we all find that we're in positions where we're looking after other people, we're responsible for other people's well-being, but there's the old energy that, you know, if you're in a plane crash, you've got to put your own mask on before you put anybody else's on. So remember to put your own mask on and look after yourself before you can look after anybody else. And what Lighthouse will do is it gives you that chance, that bit of breathing space to be able to just find that strength that you need to get the help that you need to move forward. So next slide, please, Marie. Now, what's available? We're completely transparent. What's available to you as far as what we do is an impact report we do one every year. It shows you what we're doing, how we're going about things. And personally, I think we're a pretty amazing organisation if you look at what we're doing. We've just recently, Will Hill's just left us as our CEO, and he's taken up another position, but we've now got Sarah Bolton in charge, who is one of the most inspirational and great people I've ever met in my life. She's absolutely stunning. So we've got a good person at the helm, good person driving the boat. So look, any help that you can give us, we appreciate it. But more to the point, any help that we can give you, please feel free to take it. So next slide, please. What can you do to help? Now, there's lots of different stuff. You can have fundraising days. You know, you can just basically pass on the message for us, really, and what we're about. But really, all we want to get out there is, look, just if you're having any sort of issue, any sort of problem, and this goes to your family as well. We have lots of different ways of helping you. We have Text the Hard Hat. We have a 24-hour helpline. It's converted into 130 languages. You know, there's lots of different things we do to help you. So you will find what you need. I can't stress that further enough. Please use us. That's what we're there for. My main thing is, like I say, I was in the scaffolding industry for 23 years and didn't really know who the Lighthouse were. There's no reason now that people shouldn't know who we are and shouldn't take the help that we give them. So the last slide, please, Marie. that's just where you can. That's some of our ways of getting in touch with us, and if you need any sort of help, that's how you can get hold of us. So, just to end this little presentation, and what I'm trying to say is, really, don't suffer in silence. You are not alone. Are we doing okay as an industry? We're doing better. We're getting there. Um, but then you would say you'd look at statistics that are going up, and you'd say, well, we can't be doing better because statistics are going up. Is that because things get reported more or whatever? I don't know, and that's not my issue. All I know is that there's help out there. It's helped me, and I'm seeing it help lots of other people. So please, please pick up the phone and use us if you need us. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you for that presentation. Very informative. I think it's very good that you obviously, well, it's difficult to say. It's very good that you've had experience, but you are talking from experience. I think when you've been through it yourself, it gives you, what you're saying a lot more truth, and it resonates more. Um, and yeah, I know you're now working for you. Yeah, you hold information membership, don't you, with NASC, and you're now working for Lighthouse, and you are available to members and non-members, to help with the industry. Um, and hopefully that the slides which we can make available, with the presentation, and this video recording will be put on YouTube for people to digest it, to take, if they didn't maybe take down the information that they said, that they read, or that you talked about. They can do that in their own time. We can make that available, and we will contact you all, afterwards. The thing that when I was thinking when read it, we had no questions come through yet, but please do, folks, drop a question if you've got anything to ask. But um, is there any kind of experience maybe of a positive outcome story where you have been involved, or you've certainly heard of a story with one of your peers that has spotted some signs, and sort of got involved, and prevented something serious from happening? Is there any
Yeah,
kind of like positive stories you can, anecdotes you've got up your sleeve?
yeah, quite a few. To be fair, obviously, you don't see it automatically straight away sometimes, but you hear it further down the line. But I'll give you one of the main ones that stays with me. Is I was just started going on tour. I was with Andy Bishop, and we've gone to a site in Ireland, and we're in a room, and we're talking about what we're talking about now, stuff, but what Lighthouse can do and what have you. And a guy just went out the room, and as I followed him out, and he slammed his hat off the floor, and he was really, really angry. And I said, well, what's going on? What's going on, mate? What's happening? He said, well, I've been waiting for 2 weeks for you guys to come, because I've been stood every night over a river thinking, shall I do it? Because I've had enough. I've not seen my kids, and he had his own reasons I couldn't go into because obviously it's details. And we said, okay, we get that. And he wasn't angry when he slammed his hat down. He was just angry that he's in a situation. And by the time we left there, Jane, we was able to have gotten in touch with a counsellor. He was speaking to somebody he needed to speak to. And funny enough, we drove around the site, we've done a few things and come back. And when we come back, the smile on this guy's face wasn't, oh, everything's sorted out now, everything's great. It was just like he was able to breathe out a little bit for once. There was some help there. It wasn't all about, let's talk about how we can help you, blah blah blah. He actually spoke to somebody. They found a way that they could help him out, and I don't know what's happened with him, but I knew from that point there, he was going to get help. Another one of our biggest successes along the way, and this is just down to MHFA, was a good friend of mine, Matt Hartle. I went and saw him, and he was ready. I asked him the question, "Are you going to take your own life?" And he said, "Yeah," and he's happy for me to share that. Yeah, and this is obviously more through Rob Lynch and what have you. He was able to help us get him into a better place of work. More, I think it more suited him out. And he now goes out and trains people in mental health first aid. Now, everybody we come across, I'm sat now in a place in Wales, and we're helping people with their mental health now. You know, we're always constantly working towards helping people out, and these people who are not in work at the moment, we're helping them get some some extra skills that they need. But we're always trying to find ways to help people get the help that they need.
Yeah, and I know you offer MH mental health first aid training.
Yes,
Yourself, the Lighthouse do
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Those courses are readily available through the links to, on that you shared previously that we will share again. Is there any other things that proactive things that the watchers would take away from them from today's meeting, in addition to the things that you've shared
yeah,
previously?
definitely. I mean, even if you're not a company supporter, you can go onto our website, and we have an academy, and it's got generalised courses that have been written for stress, anxiety, or anything that might be bothering you. And a lot of these courses are free, and you can just go on there and do the courses, and they're written to help people find ways to get the help that they need. So yeah, anything you need, you can just go onto our website, and you will find anything you need to get the help that you require, and not just you, but your family as well.
Yeah, okay. There is also NASC guidance note SG38, which is guidance on mental health well-being. It might be something that we suggest that the viewers want to check out. Um, it's very good to be talking about these things. And we had a Lighthouse charity webinar last year with Tom McConaughey, and he came on and talked about the app that you have, which just talk a little bit about the app and why that's so good. I think it was I
Yeah,
thought I
it's
thought it was
great.
really good that it basically sends you a message at 11 o'clock every day
Yeah,
saying
I
how you
got
doing
just just
today. Yeah,
just as we started, James. I got a message. How you feeling today?
yeah,
I got it myself. It's an amazing app, and sometimes you forget to mention these things because it becomes so normal to you. But yeah, it's an app, and it comes on and it tells you how you're feeling today, and it records the information. And if you say that you're not feeling particularly great, it will contact you as well. Another thing that we're also doing as well at the moment is we're providing support to people who actually train as mental health first aiders. We're providing support to those as well. So if they feel a little bit out of the depth, they can phone this number, and they can get through to us, and they're able to see anything we can do for them as well.
brilliant. Okay, well, we'll make reference to these links in the email that we send around to everybody who registered. So don't worry too much if you didn't have time to take any of these links down and these items that we're discussing. It will follow in the next day or so from our marketing team. Um, I mean, I think that's it. There's been no questions, which is fine. I've asked you a few questions. You are readily available. I'll put your contact details on the email that we send around as well. I just want to just finish off and just remind those who are watching today that there is another NASC webinar coming up on the 7th of August, which is about getting support from the CITB to enhance your business and talk a little bit about the levy value from the levy payments. That's on the 7th of August. So please watch out for our webinar program. And it would be remiss of me to not mention the big event at the end of the year, SCAFX 24. Ian, are you coming to SCAFX
Certainly will be.
in
Certainly will be.
Belfast?
Yes,
Good
certainly
to
will
hear it. It's going to be oh, someone's raised their hand actually. I'll just finish off. Yes, scafex24.com. Do register now. It's absolutely free for everybody, members, non-members. I suggest that you do come on board for that. Any more details you want to know about Scafex, please contact the NASC. So someone's raised their hand. I'm happy to. I'm just trying to work out. Oh, I think the questions maybe come in. Here we go. Oh, it's just a compliment. We are a company supporter and just want to say thank you for the amazing work and thanks for the webinar. That's from Sej Pancholi. I'm sure that's not how you say it, so apologies, Sej, or Sage. But thank you very much for that. Was that the same person who put the hand up? I think so. If you do have a question, please put it in now, but we're really going to sign off. There's no point keeping Ian and you guys from your day. if there's nothing else to talk about. As I said, we will follow up with information on this webinar, and the recording will be available very soon as well. So, anything more to add, Ian, before we go?
Just thank you, Jamie, and thank you, Maria, obviously for all the hard work you put in, and thank you for the chance to get some airtime to just let you know what we're up to. And yeah, just let everyone know we're here if you need us.
Brilliant. Okay. Right. Well, then I will bid you all a good rest of your day, and a good weekend ahead as well. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys. Have a good one.
Cheers.